angel of love was upon me, and Lord, I felt so small. The legs beneath me weakened.
What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Bandai SH Figuarts Injustice Gods Among Us Batman. Now here we have Batman in the packaging. I've actually had this guy for a while, I just haven't got around to reviewing him. But as you can see, we have a nice picture of Batman on the side. You see Batman in here with his alternate head. Some accessories right here on the side. On this side we have a lovely image of Batman with his alternate head, holding the grapple gun. On the back, no real read-up, just some images of Batman. You can see him posed. Really nice images. Once again, there's Batman with the alternate head sculpt. Again there. So really looking forward to this guy. What I'm going to do now is take a little break, get him opened up, and we'll go on to the rest of his review. So sit tight, everyone. And so here we have Batman posing out of the packaging. Now let's get a 360 of him. If you're wondering why his cape hangs like this, I'll go more on that later in the review, but just bear with me right now. Just a really awesome looking figure, and something that the Figuarts Injustice line did with all the figures is they included die-cast in all the figures. And for Batman, I believe his little spikes right here are die-cast, his chest piece right here, as well as the two thigh guards. I think that's all the die-cast he has on him, which is a pretty impressive amount, if I do say so. But here we have Batman, and let's actually go on to some of his accessories before we go on to some of his details. First off, not really an accessory, but it's his cape. And his cape does come in 3 pieces, and if I can just reach off camera really fast, I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, like I said, his cape does come in 3 pieces, and as you can see, there's 2 little slots right here. And if you look right here, there's 2 peg holes right there, and essentially what you do is you just tab those in like so, and then it makes his cape billow out, which unfortunately doesn't really look nice because a cape is billowing out that far and you really can't swivel it to a point where it will look good, because there's 2 of them, keep that in mind. So just remember that the cape would be billowing out about 6 inches. If you can picture that on both sides. I'll tab it in for my final thoughts, but for right now, just so you can get a look, that it would be a really, really massive cape. But the detail's nice on it. Moving that cape off, you can see it does have the little spikes at the bottom. Word of caution though is these are sharp and they are brittle, so I wouldn't like bang it along something. But really nice cape. If you just have Batman with this one piece, it looks nice. As you can see, it just drapes down like Batman's cape should. Yeah, you do get that little gapping issue, but you know, if you're willing to overlook that, you can have the cape just drape down. And then moving on to his accessories. First off, we're going to show off this really nice head. You can see all the colors in it. The blues, the silvers, the dark blues, the grays. It almost looks like standard Batman with a mouth guard, honestly. But I'm not complaining about that. This looks like a really awesome head. And let's actually pull Batman's head off really fast. And with the magic of editing, that didn't take any time for you. So you can see the 2 differences in the Batman masks. You can see this one is all scarred up and torn just like it was in the video game. This is the Insurgency Batman after all. And his head does attach on via double ball joint, and what that is a ball joint right here and a ball joint going into the neck. So showing off the heads. The earpieces do feel a little fragile, so be careful with that. They're also pointy, so they're fragile and they're sharp, so watch out for that. Moving on to another accessory, we have his grapnel gun, which is done really nicely. Unfortunately, it doesn't hinge. I would have liked it if it hinged, but you do get two attachments for it. The first one being just a standard hook. The second one you get is the hook is actually extended and on a wire, and the wire is bendy if you want to mess around with it. And it's the same basic peg system. Just pull that out, peg it in, and we have the grapnel gun shooting now, which is really nice. And then onto his final weapon accessories, you get two batarangs. What is Batman without batarangs? I'll tell you what he is. He's still Batman. And Batman without batarangs is still Batman. And then let's move on to his hands. He actually comes with two, well, besides the fist hands, which he has on standard, he does come with two pairs of hands. And I say two because we get these style posed hands. Come on, focus. I always hate when my camera doesn't focus. We get these style posed hands. We get these two hands that can hold the batarangs. And just as I say that, it doesn't want to hold them, but you can see two hands for the two batarangs. So you can have them dual wielding batarangs. And then we get this one hand. And if you don't know what this hand is for, it's for the grapple gun. However, you can see that that handle is way too big for this hand to hold, and like even getting it in, it would be a problem because it doesn't hinge and it doesn't swivel. And let's see if I can't get his... Yeah, his hand isn't rubbery enough to really open it, so that's kind of a problem because you can't really have him holding the grapple gun, and I know a lot of people want to have their Batman holding a grapple gun. I found out that with a style pose hands, you can kind of get him to hold it. So you can, like, kind of have him shooting it, but like I said, kind of, sort of, isn't really shooting it, and unfortunately, that's how this Batman came. And let's actually get his cape off for the sake of the review. Okay, getting his head back on, so we can go on to some of his detail, because he does have plenty of it. Okay, once again, zooming in on the face, we see the mask has all the battle damage scars from his years of fighting Superman. The cowl comes all the way down, kind of like the classic Batman cowls do from all the movies. The cape tucks under his armor, which is a nice touch. Shoulder pads, you can see all the buckles and belts. Of course, his utility belt, which kind of sucks that we can't attach any of his accessories onto the utility belt. I would have liked that. His armor, you can see it has some dings in it. It's all scratched up. I wish that they had painted some damage onto the armor, but it still looks nice. The bootstraps even carry on to the bottom of his feet. That's nice detail. If you were looking for a Batman with a lot of detail, this is probably one of them, and probably one of the best. And moving on to his articulation, he has quite a bit of it. He has that ball joint in the head, which can lets him look up, down, left, right. Some slight head bobble. You're not going to get much, but his neck does swivel. But then we also have a ball joint in the neck, so you can get a lot of range from that. You can look up, you can look down really far. And then that joint, I believe, also swivels, so he has a swivel at the head and a swivel at the neck, as well as a ball joint at the head and neck. His arms are on a ball joint, they go out. His armor, let me see if I can show that off. He does have a butterfly joint right there, which allows the arm to come in and out. His hinge actually goes down, and his shoulder, you can see it's hinging down. His armor also has a hinge on it. I'm just trying to get that there we go. His armor is hinged, so you can actually move his arm up, but it kind of stops right there. I don't know why. I can't get it to go further past that joint, or past that point, excuse me. But yeah, his shoulder pads are hinged, so they don't restrict all his movement. He has a swivel in the bicep. double jointed in the elbow. He spins at the gauntlet, which I think the actual game has it portrayed like that, but I don't remember. He has a ball joint in the wrist, so you can spin it right here, and he can spin and hinge at the wrist, so you can get him to do a lot of nice poses if you really need him to. So really nice, and his hands just pop off and they're interchangeable. And it's the same for both arms. He has a joint, feels like a ball joint in his upper torso. But once again, this is die cast, so yeah, that's going to be a little tricky. Actually, you can kind of see it is a little miscolored here, so there is that. He also has another ball joint right underneath his utility belt, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that, but it's crunching at the right down here, not right here. So let's actually see if I can't just show that off. And I can't. The cape is also on a hinge, in case you were wondering. But his legs pulled down so they can get better range of movement. They do go back and forth, out, and once again you can pull the legs down for better range, as you can see. This one's a little stiffer than his left leg, so I'm a little worried about that. But he swivels at the thigh. He is double jointed in the knee. Not quite 90 degrees, but it's still good enough for posing Batman. He has a hinge in the foot, which goes about that far and that far back. He has a pivot at the ankle, so really nice. You can get him in those wide poses and his feet will be planted on the floor. And he has a toe hinge, so really nice articulation on Batman overall. Probably one of the most articulated Batman figures out there. I think he actually is. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is take a little moment, get this guy posed for my final thoughts, then we'll wrap up his review, so sit tight everyone. So here we have Batman posed for my final thoughts, and as you can see what I'm talking about, the cape just somehow doesn't work for Batman. You can see how far it billows out, and for style posing, yes, it does work. However, for just neutral posing, it kind of really doesn't, because it just takes up so much space, and you can't really, even closing it up like that, it still takes up a lot of space. I mean, it can hinge forward like this, so I guess you can kind of have it posed dynamically, so I don't know, the cape just doesn't work for me, and I know a lot of people don't like the way the cape functions. I mean, it looks nice from certain angles, but then if you move it past that, the cape kind of breaks up, so yeah, just be aware of how you have his cape, and like I said, it does look nice for style posing, but just a straight Batman, no, it doesn't. But anyway, like I said, I really do like this figure. I'm actually a huge fan of the Injustice series, and boy, I love that game so much. I just wish I played it more often. But anyway, I picked my Batman up on Big Bad Toy Store. He's still available for, I think, $54. For an import figure, that seems about what you're going to be paying for them, so it's no big deal. Is he worth the price? I think if you're an Injustice fan, or just a fan of Batman, you're going to need this figure. He looks nice. Like I said, the cape could have been better, but, you know, it's not like you're going to be posing Batman's cape, like, billowing out like this unless you have, like, a flight stand for him. Posing it like that works fine with me. But anyway, if you can pick this Batman up, and like I said, if you're a fan of the Injustice games, I recommend you pick him up. He's a must-have for any Batman collector. And this is King of Dragons 5000 saying I highly recommend the Injustice Batman. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, tell me what you think of this Batman, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.